That was the game that I was going to target for a bunch of various reasons we'll get into, or probably won't for this, but we'll talk about it down the road. Um, let's take a look here at what we got on the Sunday main slate. At the top, obviously, you've got your studs. I think Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson. Any of those guys are good for cash, good for tournaments. It's going to be a little harder with tournaments. Um, just it's going to be harder to get other players in there. They are expensive this week. But yeah, any of these guys is fine. I like Goff. I like Watson, Burrow, TB12, Breeze, Matthew Stafford. My favorite guy this week, if you couldn't tell by the graphic, would be Ryan Fitzpatrick. Those guys all for tournaments only. Um, that's just how I see it. Herbert might be a sneaky play as well. Bit of a love affair he's got with Keenan Allen, so that'll be a popular stack. Big Dick Nick down here. Kind of a tougher matchup for him this week. But, yeah, anybody like that, not an issue. Got to take some shots somewhere, look at ownership projection. Yeah, that's what you got to do. If you want to win a big tournament, you got to look at ownership and you got to create a path with low ownership. Path that realistically you think you could produce minimum 4 or 5x for a tournament. All right, running backs. Kamara. I always want to call him Kimura. The bitch who took Bill Russell for all his money. Yeah, Alvin Kamara is probably going to see upwards of 12 targets this week with Michael Thomas out. So on DraftKings, where you get the full PPR, he looks to be a great cash play, tournament, whatever. Expensive. Zeke, obviously, number 2, same thing. Very high usage, high touch guys. Again, when you're making cash lineups, very important. Your 3 running backs, because you're going to stick a running back in flex more often than not in a cash game. Minimum of 65 touches. Okay, just like wide receivers. You got 3 wide receivers. You want a minimum of 25 targets. That's how you play cash. Look at game script. All that is great. At the end of the day, we're looking for volume here. Tougher matchups reduce efficiency, so that is a bit important. But for a running back, mostly what I'm looking for is that they check some boxes, playing at home, and playing with a lead based on Vegas. 20 plus touches, possibly some involvement in the receiving game. Good matchup against the defense, things like that. Just want to check some of those boxes, make sure you're setting yourself up for some success. Lots of touches around the goal line. You don't want a guy who gets taken out and some other cat comes in the 5-yard line every single time. But yeah, these 2 cats are fine. Dalvin Cook, I think, is priced up a little bit. They're not using him as much, so I'm probably not going to go to him for cash as much. Eckler looks to be good on DraftKings where you get the full PPR. He's still getting a bunch of targets. His rushes aren't up there, but his combination of the 2 is over 20. I like Chubb a lot. Jacobs always gets a crap ton of volume. I'll probably stay off of him this week because he's playing that tough Buffalo defense. But let's see. Jonathan Taylor still hasn't had that ceiling game, but he's been pretty consistent. Like him a lot. He's super involved. Primary back. Getting some targets. Getting a bunch of rushes. Red zone opportunity. Chicago's tough, so I probably won't go crazy with him this week, but I'll have him in some of my lineups. James Robinson, Kenyon Drake. Both of them look to be in very good positions. The only problem with Drake has been so far this year is that he's not getting involvement in the passing game. He's got a great matchup, though. We really want to stream anybody we can against Carolina. Their defense is a dumpster fire top to bottom. So we like some Kenyon Drake. Singletary, with the injuries, looks to be a very good play this week. I don't know if I'll get to him in cash. He's a little more risky, but definitely in tournaments, I'm looking at him. Got to find some value. He's sub 6K, which is nice. Some outside consideration for Johnson. Myles Gaskin, if you want to stack with the bearded wonder there, I think that he makes for an interesting play. Not a million rushes, but he gets a lot of targets. They should be playing from behind against Seattle. This game should shoot out. It's definitely a game I'm going to a bunch. Ronald Jones with Fortinet out. Definitely sign me up for some $4,700 Ronald Jones. I'm not saying he's going to break the slate or anything like that, but he should have extra touches, extra involvement in the passing game. With Fournette out, it's him and LaShawn McCoy. I expect Jones to get the majority of the first down, second down, some third down. Maybe they bring him Shady for that. He'll definitely be more of a red zone guy than Shady, I think, as well, though. Yeah, Carson, not a bad play if he makes it into the lineup. I guess he practiced, so it looks like they're probably going to play him. But I probably won't go near him. I like the passing game more from that game. Most of these other guys can just, eat a giant bag of dicks. Not a lot of love for what goes below there. Not a lot of value. There was, most of the value at wide receiver and running back was coming from that New England Kansas City game, which would have been one of the better games to watch just as a fan this weekend. So kind of a bummer about that. Let's move on. Oh, boy. Now we get to wide receivers. Wide receivers this week. On the top, you got D-Hop. He's going to be popular stack with Kyler Murray. Rightfully so. Number one wide receivers have absolutely torched Carolina this year. And I don't anticipate this to be any different. With that price tag, his ownership's kind of low. Definitely not a bad tournament option, not a bad cash option. You should see a bunch of volume this week. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Pick one. I'll probably go for DK. He's going to be a little bit lower owned, a little bit cheaper. They're both good plays this week. This game should shoot out. Miami can't contain anything. And neither can Seattle. Their defense has been atrocious. So that's a really good game to target as well for stacks, for tournaments. I do not see myself going to Amari Cooper. I am tired of this dude busting. He's not completely busting, but just for his price, I'd rather get to some Cooper Kupp right here. The Giants have not had a good secondary. They've got a million injuries. Kupp gets a lot of volume. That full PPR in DraftKings makes it nice. Him and Woods both. I'll probably get to a bunch of them. I'll probably get to some Keenan Allen too in my tournaments. Much tougher matchup this week, but this quarterback is in love with him. So him and Eckler, probably the primary beneficiaries of a lot of the target share. Thielen, I'll probably stay away from. He burned me kind of. Gallup, probably only for tournaments. He's more of a home run hit. He kind of had a ceiling game last game, so stay with him. Tyler Boyd looks to be really good this week. People sleep on Cincinnati, but I like what they're doing down there. And him, Galladay, Fuller, OBJ, all solid for tournaments. Parker, the number one receiving option for the bearded legend, the man himself, the myth, Fitzmagic. I got him a lot. Tournaments, cash, it don't matter. 5,700 is too cheap for a guy who's going to get that many targets in a game that's going to shoot out. CeeDee Lamb, I like him better than just about every other receiver on that team, but I'm not really getting there much this week. And then it's getting a little hairy. I mean, Landry's not bad. This game should shoot out as well. People will stack this game. If I'm going to this side, I'm probably going more to OBJ, but either of them or both of them with Baker's not bad. I would just rather do the Cowboys, go Zeke and pick one of three receivers. Maybe get in some Dalton Schultz in there. We'll get there. Jones will probably get away from. He's pretty cheap. Low ownership projection. But with Galladay back, I don't see him being as, targeted, I suppose. Might take some shots at him in some tournaments. Definitely not cash viable, though. Sanders, same kind of situation with Sanders. And now it's getting kind of gross down here. I do like Hunter Renfrow in this game if he stays in the slot. Las Vegas is down a couple of outside receivers, so we'll have to see. The matchup on the outside is pretty tough against Buffalo, but they're a little weaker in the slot. Renfrow is really good at finding the holes in the zone, falling down. DraftKings, full PPR. People will be on him after last week's game. I don't think he'll have the same kind of production, but at 4,600, what does he got to do? He doesn't even have to get in the end zone. He needs get you 5 to 6 catches, 70 yards, something like that, and we're winning with that guy. Brandon Cooks I like a lot for tournaments. That's too cheap for Brandon Cooks. Sorry, 4,500. The guy is definitely boom or bust kind of player, but that is way too cheap. I mean, what do you get? 13.5 there for him. He could break that open in 2 plays. Love Preston Williams, another cheap receiver. Ford as well. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be stacking this game a bunch. It's one of the games left that I'm going to stack on the slate. Killing myself right now. I had such a good tournament lineup. I was, but of course it had Cam and it had Bird or N'Keal Harry because they were 4 and 3,000 respectively, and that was way too cheap for those receivers. People would have been off on them too after last week, but that game. Maybe they'll give us a cool Wednesday night header. They're still trying to figure it out. The NFL doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Let's see. Allen Robinson with Nick Foles. I mean, why not? Right? Like, why? He's such a good receiver. Now he's got a real quarterback throwing him the ball. So, yeah, I mean, no problem getting someone like him. Diggs, I'll probably take a flyer on this week. Evans, with Godwin out, that's going to be an interesting matchup. Chargers have a pretty good defense. He's going to be shadowed by a pretty good DB too this week, but with no Godwin, it's going to be the Scotty Miller, Rob Gronkowski, and Mike Evans show. I mean, that's who TB12 is going to be throwing to. So definitely got him in some tournaments. Pass on Hollywood, pass on Chark, pass on McLaurin this week. DJ Moore looks really good. Not that I would really ever want to get excited about DJ Moore, but Arizona and Carolina, that game should have a higher total. DJ Moore, definitely their red zone target, the primary guy on the outside, so I like him for both formats. It's getting a little gross down here. Samuel's not bad either on that side of the ball. He'll get some rush opportunities as well. T. Higgins. See what they'll do with this rookie. Seems like he's getting more and more involved each week in the passing game. Definitely keep your eye on him. I like him a bunch. But, it's getting kind of gross after that. Don't mind Cole. Maybe I take a shot on him. Laviska Shenault, we kind of covered him in Jacksonville. He's got some upside as well. No thank you to Reynolds. Boykins, kind of disappointing in that showdown, but he could always have a touchdown. I'm just really avoiding that entire game. Yeah, after that, it's pretty shitty pretty quick. Anyway, let's get ourselves some tight ends going here all the way at the top. Yeah. All right, so Mark Andrews has become the most expensive tight end on the slate with no Kelsey is what I'm trying to say. Too expensive for me. Same thing with Higbee. I think that's way too much. I'd rather go to Waller right there. Waller's probably going to just kill Buffalo. Tight ends have been killing Buffalo. That's one area they have not been able to shut down. I expect him to see a lot of extra target share with the outside receivers both being injured on that team. So I like me some Waller. Gesicki, same thing. This game's going to shoot out. He's one of the primary targets, athletic freak, red zone opportunities, 5,000. Pretty good for a higher priced guy. I like Henry a bunch too, and Hawkinson seems a little priced up to me. Might take a shot there. Love Schultz. Schultz is a great value right there, 4,300. More and more involved each week in the passing game. Get me some of that Schultz. For sure. Not really interested in Olsen, although he's getting some targets now. Maybe take a flyer on that. I might have him like 2% if I did 100 lineups. Mo Alley Cox. Breakout game 2 weeks ago. Last week they kind of settled him back down. He still got a touchdown. Still did all right for me. But, it seems like this kid is going to be involved more in the game. So, 3,900, that's fine. You need 12 points from him. Look at his last 3 games. He got 3, 6, and 2 targets. 14, 19, and a 4. I mean, if that's his fantasy range of outcomes, 4 to 19, yeah, I'll take a shot, man. What does he got to get you at 3,900? You got to get you like 11 and a half, 12? That's easy. They're going to need targets they're going to need people to throw to. They have a lot of injuries to that receiving core right now. Love the Gronk. People will throw shade, but look, Scotty Miller's banged up. No Chris Godwin, so you don't have any slot action there. Evans is going to get bottled up. They're going to need to throw the ball to someone besides Evans. I'm sure Evans will get a bunch of targets, but, Brady trusts Gronk. And Gronk looked pretty good last week. Seems like he's getting more and more involved in the passing game. Look for him or possibly one of the other tight ends to get involved, but I like him a bunch. Thomas, probably one of the only people I'll go after in this entire game. Washington versus Baltimore, Logan Thomas consistently getting targets. Look at that, 7, 9, 8. That's a lot of targets for a guy who costs $3,500. He's not blowing up 7, 7, and 14 in the last 3 games with his fantasy points, but opportunity plus efficiency. That's how you project fantasy points. So this dude's got all the opportunity in the world. His efficiency has not been great, but if they're going to continue to go to the well with Logan Thomas, I'm going to continue to play him in my lineups. Doyle, not terribly interested. I mean, that's pretty much it. I like Akins here. This guy has been pretty consistent for me in that opening game. He caught a touchdown. Let's look. He's got 2, 7, and 3 targets, so he's averaging 4 over the last 3 games, averaging about 9.7 in fantasy points. Houston versus Minnesota. Minnesota's kind of a softer matchup, so look for Akins to get involved a little bit more. Hopefully he'll catch a target or 2, but 3,300 is pretty fair for that. Not a bad deal. Going down here. After that, it's pretty bad. So, yeah. After that, it's really just dart throws, punt plays for tournaments. All right, let's look at defenses. Up top, you got the Baltimore versus Washington. Obviously, that's pretty expensive. I mean, I'll put it in the player pool, but I'm really not into paying up for defense. I think cheapest one thrown in there. I like the Bucks. That's a good pay up option. That's not too expensive this week versus the Chargers. They got a rookie QB kind of thrust into that role unexpectedly with the impaling of fucking Tyrod. Morons. I like cheaper usually is where I go. I'm sure people will pay up to Bills. Not terrible, but I'm going to be probably mostly down here playing like the Texans and you got to remember with defense that on DraftKings the worst they can hurt you is -4 points. So I mean, it's kind of a push. You think you can get a couple of sacks out of a team or a pick or whatever. Just negates that negative. I have a lot of Dolphins. I'm not going to lie. A lot of Lions. I just didn't want to pay up. Most of these teams. I have some Washington football team, 2,100. I do not pay up for defenses. Last year I paid up for the Patriots a bunch of times because they were scoring like a touchdown every game. You kind of had to. But for the most part, save your money. It's random. All you want to look at defense is try and find a team that either has a really good front seven and puts a lot of pressure, or it's a matchup where the opposing team is playing from behind considerably, so you're going to have to drop back more, throw more. That creates more opportunity for sacks and picks and things like that. All right, let's look at some lineups. So the optimizer here on Draft Dashboard, this is the platform I use. There's always a link below. You can try it for 30 days for $1. It's a good tool. It gives you all the projections, pretty much everything you could ever want to know, all in one format. And add bonus, you get my full player pool is updated, and you'll have access to that through my link, so you can see where I'm building lineups from. So it shit out this lineup. It's not a bad lineup. I probably wouldn't play Singletary and Allen together because part of Josh Allen's upside is his rushing ability, and if Singletary's you're getting in the end zone, that means Allen isn't. So I probably wouldn't do that. I probably wouldn't play Cook at that price. Let's, fiddle fuck around a little here and see what we could do. For a tournament, maybe we put DK down there, save a few bucks. Alright, and then we could maybe upgrade. Not a lot of value this week. It's kind of tough. maybe I take like Taylor since he gets a lot of touches. What do we got? Cooks, Boyd. I mean, this ain't bad, but again, like, tournament, usually you want to stack. It's okay to play naked Josh Allen. He's guys who have high rushing upside. You don't necessarily have to stack with receivers. But, you might want to bring somebody back against him. But something like that is fine. It's not a bad lineup. I might get rid of Ingram too here and go for like Mo Alley or Logan Thomas or something like that. Maybe pay up for defense. And take the Rams or something. Something like that. All right. FanDuel's a little different. You don't get the full point per reception. So it's much more touchdown dependent. Really, it's an inferior product in a lot of respects, but I still play it. I just don't play as much. I play like $1, $2 single entry stuff. Occasionally, if I think I have like an advantage, I might go into some of the bigger tournaments there. Dak is a good. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good lineup right there for FanDuel. I guess the only thing I don't like about this is there isn't a bring back. If we're going to play a stack, let's play a stack, right? Let's bring this bullshit back with some... Where is... I see more price stuff. There he is. OBJ's probably too expensive on this slate. That is a shame. He's much cheaper on DraftKings. So maybe Jarvis Landry then. There he is. All right, we're still within budget. So we got some Landry going on here. Prescott. We probably need to pivot off of Parker and go and get him a target or two. Let's look for some CeeDee Lamb for some value. I like how when you say his name, it sounds like you're saying CeeDee. Like, who doesn't like a CeeDee Lamb in the red light district? All right. DJ Moore, he's a stud this week on both sides. Something like that looks good. You got bring back with Lockett. Hawkinson, hopefully get some targets there. He's a little bit better value on this side at 54. You got your Dak with Zeke and CeeDee. Kenyon. It's not a bad lineup. Anyway, let's get the fuck out of here, folks. Very disappointing news with that. That I really was looking forward to that. Not only was I looking forward to that Chiefs-Patriots game, but I mean, man, I had such a good lineup. Oh, fuck. That was where all the wide receiver value was coming from, with Demarius Byrd being $3,000 and N'Keal Harry being $4,000. That would have been perfect. One of those guys with Cam bringing it back with either Kelsey, or I preferred the child beater who never got punished with Tyreek Hill, and filling in the blanks. I had stud receivers or stud running backs, and yeah. Oh, well, best laid plans. I cashed like crazy last night on basketball, so I guess I can't complain too much. Just won't play as much on Sunday as I thought. Hope everybody makes some money this weekend. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps me if you put the thumbs up. Tell me I'm a dick in the comments. That all helps. Appreciate you guys. See you next time. Peace.